Saturday night, right after the Charlottesville fiasco, I was sitting right here in this seat, and Dakota was sitting right there. And we were like, what just happened? Like, we had seen a few posts here and there on social media, but we didn't really know what was going on. So I did what any millennial would do, and I Googled it. And I read an article from the Washington Post, and I read an article from CBS, and I read an article from the New York Times. And after reading all of these articles, I still really didn't understand what was going on. There was a lot of mixed reporting and mixed messages, and a lot of stuff was not very clear. And it took until I finally found an article on CNN, the fourth article I read, that I actually felt like I had some kind of an understanding of what actually happened in Charlottesville. And at that point, I was very frustrated with the news, to say the least, because I read 4 long articles before I finally knew what had happened. And it was 30 minutes later, where it should have taken me 5 minutes to figure out what had happened there. And I started thinking to myself, dang, I should make news videos, because I could literally do this so much better in, 3 hours. I could publish something that would be better than everything that I've read so far. And then I realized that I've done that. So here's a throwback to 2 years ago when I made some news videos. This specific video is a video regarding the incident where Turkey had a Russian bomber shot down in late November or early December of 2015. So without further ado, here's one of my old news videos. So last time I told you about how Turkey shot down a Russian bomber. This time I'm going to tell you why nobody knows what actually happened. According to Russia, their plane was flying along the Turkish border and never crossed into the Turkish border. According to Turkey, the plane was flying towards Turkey, then it flew into their territory and got shot down. Russia's side of the story is, we were flying near the Turkish peninsula, and then we kind of turned, then we went around, and then we cut back. The map of what Russia says looks like this. I looked at this little corner right here and said, that's suspicious. So I asked David, my roommate who's a pilot and an aerospace engineer, if a turn like this was possible. So one night we did some calculations. What we found out is that the turning radius while pulling 10 Gs is about a circle this size. So it's quite comical to assume that the bomber could actually make this turn. Turkey's side of the story is that they were warning this bomber for 5 minutes before it crossed into Turkish airspace. 5 minutes before the bomber crossed into Turkish airspace, it was right here, flying the other way, away from Turkey. But Turkey wasn't warning them for 5 minutes, and the bomber didn't actually take Russia's flight path. So basically, Turkey and Russia are both lying about what happened. I've been struggling with this for a long time, and I think not only do we have a fake news problem in America, we have a bad news problem. We have the problem of news sources not being able to convey succinctly and clearly what actually happened in an incident. They're just sort of blabbering out nonsense and, random tidbits and facts, and we don't clearly understand what's going on. Some of the articles I read they didn't make any sense. We would have one paragraph talking about how a helicopter crashed, and the way that it was written, it made me feel like the helicopter crash was caused by the protests, when it was, the helicopter crashed because it was covering protests, but not caused by the protests. After reading 3 articles, I still didn't know who drove a car into whose crowd. It's not only, the problem that we have isn't only fake news, it's bad news. We need news reporting that is clear, succinct, informational, and helps us understand what happened. And the news that we have doesn't really do a good job of that.